I divorced my cheating wife after learning our son isn't mine. She begged, but I left her with the kid. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I found out that my wife cheated on me 6 years ago. The way I found out is that her sister told me after going to visit her to find out how the delivery of her first child was. She confessed to me that 6 years ago, my wife told her that she slept drunk with her best friend. In her words, my wife was very sorry at the time. I was with my son when she told me, and immediately after leaving her house, I went to take a paternity test with him, fearing the worst. A week later, I got the results, and my fears came true. My son is not mine. For some reason, I began to see the boy differently, more as an acquaintance than a son. With the proof in hand, I confronted my wife at night when the child was sleeping. She asked me who told me, and I simply told her that it is none of her business, although obviously, it will not take long to connect the dots that it was her sister. Well, that is not my problem now. Regardless of that, I asked her for a divorce, which is now in process. She was devastated and swore to me more than once that nothing happened with anyone again, that she has been faithful to me in body and soul since then. I held back the urge to insult her to avoid complications during the divorce issue, not believing a word she said, mostly blaming the alcohol instead of taking the blame herself. After talking about it, she threatened me, saying that she would demand full custody of the child. I was so annoyed at that moment that I told her, okay, I don't want anything to do with something that is not mine. You keep the child, and I'll keep the dogs. We have 2 dogs that we adopted as puppies, and they are currently 8 years old each. After my words, she tried to convince me to take care of the child with her, that I am his father. At that moment, I exploded. I was so angry, and had held back so much the urge to scream that I just yelled at her to go and take her illegitimate child with her. A week has passed since then, and I am at home. It is in my name because it is a gift from my parents. She went to her parents' house with her kid and has not called me since. She left with everything and the half-asleep kid. When I yelled at her, especially since it was the first time I really yelled at her, it sure affected her. I talked to my parents, and my dad told me that I did the right thing. He said I shouldn't be raising something that is not of my blood, and I agree with him. However, the pain is still there. My younger brother told me to write here to entertain myself. I am currently seeing a therapist 3 times a week, who told me that I have already taken the first step, which was to leave behind what causes me pain. It just hurts to know that my family no longer exists. Regarding why my sister-in-law told me everything, according to her, she felt guilty seeing me always happy with my son, knowing that he may not be mine. She also mentioned that the fact that we went to visit her in a moment of weakness caused her to completely break down with guilt. I don't know how true that is. I just know that right now, I feel tremendous hatred for my wife and a feeling between pain and resentment for the child. Although it's just time to get ahead, I hope the divorce goes smoothly. We have separate finances and properties, and if she really asks for child support, I have proof that it's not mine, according to my lawyer. That's more than enough if she tries a legal process. My therapist also recommended that I not see him or her, that regardless of the child's feelings, I should focus on myself first. The child is no longer my problem, and the sooner I accept it, the better. Sorry for the misspellings. English is not my first language. Some relevant comments. The child has a father, and the mother knows exactly who he is. I find it odd that so many are trying to guilt-trip this man into taking on a lifetime burden while being reminded daily of his wife's infidelity. This type of fraud is unique, one-sided. ETA. Because so many of you keep responding to me, I'd like to point out that this man's right to choose was taken away. It's the same logic as forcing a woman to give birth. First off, I am a woman. Secondly, it takes a tremendous set of balls for a woman to tell a man that he should love and accept a child that he was deceived into believing was his, just because the child will suffer. We as women will never experience what it's like to be deceived in this way, and have no jurisdiction to tell a man that he's wrong for immediately distancing himself from said child in these situations. OP, you cannot put anyone's feelings before your own. If at some point you come to be able to functionally have a relationship with the child, then that would be great, but that shouldn't come at the expense of your own mental well-being. Do not listen to anyone who tries to make you responsible for harm or cruelty to the child that the woman who tried to pass him off as yours inflicted because she couldn't take responsibility for her own selfish actions. All you people saying that he is an idiot and that he needs to raise this child. And he is the only father this child knows. Take into account that every time he looks at his child, he will be reminded of how badly he was hurt, how badly he was manipulated into wasting 6 years of his life with a cheater who had to know there was a chance this kid wasn't his. Every time this child calls him dad, it will tear his heart out further. He wanted his child to raise his child, to see his child grow up. That would be a secondary contributor to a person to whom he ultimately has zero connection and will have zero right toward. Stop telling this guy that he has a right to do this. His wife was supposed to have some kind of decency, not to be a POS and cheat on him. She didn't hold up her end of the agreement, but you all think he should still bend over backwards to be miserable for the rest of his life. Update. Well, 2 weeks have passed since my first publication, and 3 weeks since everything happened. Not many relevant things have really happened, but here is a short summary. Approximately 3 days after my publication, my ex came to my house and asked to come in. I went out and met her at the door. I told her that she is not going to set foot in my house while I am here. If she is going to say anything, let it be at the door. Well, she practically begged me to take her son back. That if I want to cut off all contact with her, that's fine. She deserves it. But that she can't raise a child alone. She has a job, and raising him alone is going to destroy her dream of being a notary. She works in public records and is 2 more years away from running for the judiciary to get a vacancy to have her own notary. I tried to explain to her in the best way I could that my therapist is the one who recommended me to cut off all contact with the 2 of them, and to please leave my door before I lose my mind. I love the child, but I don't want to take out my anger on an innocent, even less considering that this innocent is the product of her inability to keep her legs closed. I said this last thing with a bit of anger, but I never raised my voice because we were on the street. That the child deserves better, and that she is currently responsible for giving it to him. I don't know how, but that's not my problem anymore. After that, we talked a little more. She resisted the urge to try to cry and make a scene because, once again, we were on the street, and she is someone who always takes into account what people say about her. The last thing she asked me was to at least let her see the dogs. I told her no. The best thing is for them to get used to her absence. Seeing her again after so much time will only make them euphoric. After that, she just nodded and left. 2 days after that, she called me when she received the divorce papers. My mistake was answering the phone because, immediately after about 30 minutes, she was yelling. To which I later managed to say that the papers must have the number of my civil lawyer, so she can call her if she has any questions. After that, I silenced her number. She has not come to my house since then nor tried to call again. That same day, I contacted a friend that I made during my master's degree, and I told her to go out. She accepted, and well, we've been going out since then. Finally, last Friday, I told her to be an exclusive couple, and she accepted. She has stayed overnight at my house for a few days. She already knows my dogs and adores them, which I appreciate because I couldn't start something with someone who doesn't accept my pets. We are currently taking things easy. She knows the drama I am having with my ex and the child, and she respects my decision. She asked me if I will ever have contact with the child again. I told her maybe when he is of age to understand my decisions, but that I don't expect it to interfere with my life in the future. To which she just nodded and was glad that I take myself as a priority during this process. Maybe this took a little longer than I expected, but this is the summary of what happened these days. And well, many people have been asking me for an update, so here it is. Relevant comments. I mean, he's being kind of a jerk, but she is the super criminal here. I mean, there's no way out where the kid is not going to be hurt. If you don't have parental feelings, then you don't. And in the long run, forcing yourself to pretend to be a loving father is not going to be helping. So, getting a divorce seems like a logical step. This is why everybody should have a parental DNA test for every pregnancy, and it should be in the legal record. No choices on that. This thread that is wrong, you are terrible. No, it is not his fault. His wife could have done a million things differently before it got to this point. She 100% constructed this whole scenario and screwed over her child. I can smell you through the computer, one fellas. Does it make you an island to not want to be tricked into raising another dude's child for 5 years? Has anyone commenting here shown any empathy for the OP? Imagine being told that the family you started was a lie, and having your entire world pulled out from under you. The OP could literally be a danger to himself and those around him right now. But the specialists have decided he's in the wrong for not living under the same roof as someone he probably feels intense, even psychotic rage towards, and an innocent child who happens to be from the man he trusted. The same man who impregnated his wife and then left, leaving the OP to raise his son. Anyone who disagrees is an incel. Good talk. Update. Well, how to say it? I'm officially a divorced man. In my country, there is a type of divorce called a quick divorce in which, if there are no assets, joint finances, and children involved, the divorce can be carried out municipally and not judicially, avoiding the entire process involved, which would have included reconciliation, distribution of assets, etc. Based on what has been mentioned, you can guess that the only problem was the issue of the son that we both have. Well, there came the issue of the paternity test with which it was possible to verify that said child is not mine, and that my name was successfully taken from his birth certificate, along with my last name. The child currently has both of his mother's last names. Regarding how the divorce went, it was not easy. My ex-wife tried more than once to use the child's mental state to make me return to her, and although I thought about it more than once, it was thanks to remembering everything that happened that allowed me to stay focused. I must also thank my current partner, who supported me at all times and always supported my decisions. I already know that none of this is my fault, but having her tell me this also somehow helped me. Finally, after many discussions and with our lawyers involved, I told her that I can pay her half of what a nanny's salary costs for her son while she fixes her life. However, the other half, and whatever comes after, she will have to pay for entirely on her own. Thank God, she agreed. But I told her not to expect me to take care of her son for her, to which she agreed. She has always been a person very dedicated to her work, so I suppose that having to be a single mother has shocked her a lot. In any case, for mere curiosity, I asked her if she spoke with the child's father, to which she said that she tried. He even lived with him for 2 weeks in her parents' house, but that he and his son simply have nothing in common and there is no way they can get along. Even she has had to intervene, so that he and the child do not end up screaming to each other. So, after a pair of weeks, the guy just left her home. Anyway, although it is somewhat sad, she is a woman with a good job and with a good figure. In a year, that she will have the help of a nanny, it is more than enough time for her to find a suitable stepfather for her son. In the meantime, I don't plan to talk to him yet. Maybe I will do so in a couple of years, or when he's a teenager. But if the child doesn't want to talk to me, I'm simply not going to insist. I understand if he hates me, so I won't try to have a relationship with him if he doesn't want to. After everything we talked about the child, she told me that she hated me, and even more so that I got a partner so quickly. I thought this was very rude because my current partner was there with us, and I had to intervene before an argument between the two occurred. Even though she ended up signing the divorce papers and appreciated my help, she couldn't understand that throughout the conversation, I looked down at her as if I felt compassion for her. She has always been a fairly proud person because everything she has achieved has been on her own merit. So, me looking down on her made her feel less than me, which hurt and angered her. I told her that I know what she's talking about, but I just have the same look as always. I seriously think she has some paranoia problem, but hey, that's not my problem either. The important thing is that she ended up signing the papers, and that I can finally have my life again. Although, for a year, I will be paying half the minimum wage for a nanny, it is a fair price for peace, I suppose. I had bad feelings for her too, but during this month, I ended up just accepting it and moving forward. Yes, I hate her too, but not enough to say it directly, or to wish her bad karma. I suppose she has enough with her problems. I thank my current partner for having to put up with all this crap more than once. I told her that she didn't have to accompany me to meetings or worry about it, that they are my problems. But she said that my problems are hers too, and that I shouldn't carry all that alone. The truth is, it has helped me a lot to take a load off my shoulders. She also understands that I am in no hurry to get married, not this year, and possibly not the next. She understands it well. At least this chapter of my life is about to close without long-term consequences for me. Some comments she knew all along. Her sister knew all along, probably even her parents, friends, and extended family as well. Did her best friend, your former son's father, know this all along too? He immediately accepted your former son when your ex called him at her parents' house without a doubt, or even doing a test like you did, which proved something for me. If she knew about that night, then he also knew too. There's no way she didn't tell her pregnancy to all of her best friends, including him, especially after they both knew they slept together for your former son. My advice is that you contact your former son's father, tell him everything about your former son so that those two can bond together. Also, tell your ex to stop forcing a relationship on those two. I don't think you're the type of person to fully leave your former son like that. Now that your ex is exposed, she has shown her true colors as a narcissist. Good for you to finally get rid of her. Take things slowly with your new girlfriend to heal this wound at the same time, too. You're just 32. You may have wasted many of your 20s and early 30s on that narcissist woman, but you still have time to find your true happiness. Hold your head high. I don't know if everyone in her family knew, but it's sad that it already happened. I hope the kid will be good, and I want to be good too. Thank you for your words. This happened to a buddy of mine in the U.S. Yes, they were in the Pacific Northwest at the time, and even though the kid wasn't biologically his, the court decided to saddle him with child support until the wife remarried. About 6 months after the divorce, she moved in and cohabitated with the biological father. They didn't get married, and so my buddy was having his pay garnished to the tune of a few grand a month to support their lifestyle. It's the single biggest effing thing I've ever seen the courts pull in this country. Eventually, they all ended up in Texas, and he redressed the court here for relief. She actually fought him on it, but he won. 5 years of the poor bastard getting screwed like that before sanity prevailed. Yep, I have seen that happen. The husband, the non-biological dad, gets kicked out of the house in the divorce, has to pay child support and alimony, while the actual biological dad that the mom cheated with moves in. The biological dad and mom live in the house, neither working, all three supported by the ex-husband, non-bio-daddy intact, both a mother-father-mother-child. Story 2. Serious advice needed because I am lost. I female have been with my boyfriend. I'll call him Adam, for almost a year now. I met him through my master's degree in the UK when I was a sophomore in college. I had a long-term boyfriend, who I'll call Kyle, who took his own life. We were together for 3 years, and I would never wish the pain of losing someone like that on my worst enemy. When we started college, Kyle gifted me a locket with the word, most, engraved on the back of it. It was our thing. It meant he loved me most. Sappy, but it was ours. Since his passing, this has been my most valuable possession, and I do not go anywhere without it. It is my last piece of Kyle. After finishing my degree and struggling the entire time, I decided that I needed to get out of the town where everything happened and decided to study my master's degree in the UK, which is where I met Adam. He is the first person I have allowed myself to love since losing Kyle, and I really have loved our relationship up until this point. If it is true, I will never be able to forgive him. Adam has always been insecure about Kyle, asking hypothetical questions like, if Kyle was still alive, would I be with him? And what do I prefer about him over Kyle, etc. I usually dodge the questions and never give him an answer, as I don't condone these types of questions and don't want to feed into it. We have also had to have several conversations regarding Adam talking badly about Kyle. He also dislikes it if I post about Kyle on his birthday or death anniversary or have hard days. He sees this as that I don't love him and I'm still hung up on Kyle, no matter how many years that pass and how much I love Adam. Kyle was my first, and his life was cut short. He was also my best friend. I will mourn his life forever, even if I have moved on romantically. He knows how much this necklace from Kyle means the world to me, and I've been devastated for the last 2 weeks, frantically searching our apartment for it. I took a shower one day, and set the necklace in the same place I always do when I came out of the shower. It was gone. Adam swears he has no idea where it is, and it must have fallen somewhere and got lost. I have been beside myself, spending nights in tears over losing this. Adam has a sister, whom we will call Jane. Jane recently celebrated her 21st birthday. I am in her private story where she posted the beautiful locket that her big brother got her for her special day. It was the same locket. I know it because it has the same engraving on the back. I don't know how Adam explained that one, but he must have somehow. Adam and Jane are not particularly close, and this isn't something I feel I can just confront her about casually. I also feel silly bringing it up to Adam in case it isn't the same locket, and I am just going insane, looking for excuses because I was careless and lost it. I don't see where else Adam could have got this locket, as it was made for me by a small business back in the States. She was local to Kyle and me, and her work has always been my favorite. I need advice on how to ask Adam about this. I know if I do, he'll deny it either way, and this locket means the world to me. I need it back. Thanks for any relevant comments. You should reach out to Adam's sister and explain the locket situation and break up with Adam. I don't intend to stay with my boyfriend. I just need to figure out a way to make sure I get the necklace back. You need to end the relationship and move her things out. The relationship will definitely be done. It is just tricky, as we share an apartment, and his name is on the lease, as he is from the UK. I'm American, working out the best way around it so I don't become homeless and trying to scrape together enough for a trip home for a while. Can I ask what are your thoughts on his red flag behaviors? Being jealous of a person who died prematurely seems like it didn't occur to you that those are massive red flags before the necklace theft. I have noticed there are red flags. I guess I have just excused them as Adam is the first person I found myself having those feelings for again. Also, we share an apartment. He is the name on the lease because he is from the UK, and I'm from the States. I'm also a student, trying to scrape together enough money to go back home for a while. I know it's a stupid reason to stay in a disrespectful relationship, but this is a foreign country, and I'm mostly alone here. If he denies it, tell him to produce the receipt or bank statement from the purchase. If he claims he paid cash, ask him what jewelry store or site he bought it from and reach out to them to see if they've ever sold something like that. Then, when he can't prove he bought it, send photos of yourself wearing the locket to his sister and let her know that Adam stole it from you. If she knows about your late boyfriend, you can let her know it's the last piece you have of him and you need it back. Hopefully, she is a good person and returns it. He's competing with your late partner. Once you get your locket back, leave an update. Thanks everyone for all the advice. It's been almost 3 weeks since I posted, and I didn't plan to update, but I've seen a few comments asking for one. A day or two after the initial post, I confronted Adam about the locket. He claimed he did not know what I was talking about and couldn't believe I could be as cold as to accuse him of this. When asked for receipts or any proof that the locket was not the same as mine, he couldn't produce any and got angry, storming out of our apartment. He came back that night, trying to gaslight me into believing that I was the one who created a problem out of nothing, and even that the necklace he got his sister had no engraving whatsoever. Unfortunately for him, I had contacted his mom while he was away, stating that I had misplaced my locket and was wondering if it had accidentally been taken home by Adam when he was visiting. She got back to me pretty quickly, saying that she had found my necklace on her daughter Jane's present pile, stacked away in a corner. She explained that she, or Jane, must have mistaken it for one of her presents and put it back in the pile. She promised me that she would keep a hold of it in her room until she got the chance to return it. Immediately after I had confirmation that Adam's mom had the locket, I booked the cheapest flight home I could find and asked his mom for a lift to the airport so she could return the necklace. She agreed, and after that, I sat planning exactly how I would tell Adam that we were breaking up. I didn't need him to admit to stealing the necklace. The fact that I had enough doubt in my mind that I knew he had taken it was enough for me to know that this relationship was going nowhere. I just wanted my necklace back. I stayed with Adam until my flight, which was about a week ago. I let him and his mom drive me to the airport, and I left a note breaking up with him, telling him that my friends would be by to pick up my stuff and move it between their flats. I took a leave of absence from uni until I work out where I am going to stay when I get back to the UK, and have contacted my landlord about taking my name off the lease. When Adam's mom gave me back my necklace, his face was priceless. He looked like a deer in the headlights. He was so angry, but he couldn't show it in front of his mom. His sister Jane hasn't once questioned the missing necklace, and it's been around 2 weeks now. I doubt she will ever notice. She is rather spoiled. I am glad to update that I am safe. I am back home with my necklace from Kyle. I am just home from visiting his grave, telling him this entire story and laughing about it. It reminded me that I should update, and probably hold higher standards in men for myself. Thanks for your love and support. Relevant comment. Wow, what a roller coaster. It sounds like you handled that situation with some serious finesse, confronting him, getting the necklace back, and breaking free, all while keeping your dignity intact. That's impressive. I can just picture Adam's face when his mom handed back your necklace. Talk about a plot twist. It's like he thought he was playing chess, but you were playing 4D checkers. I'm so glad you're back home, and it's awesome that you took the time to visit Kyle's grave and share a laugh about it. Here's to higher standards and better men in your future.